Hi, this is Tanushri Saha. I'm a landscape architect based out of Singapore. Today, I'm going to take you through the landscape concept for Rohan Harita. It's 8.5 acres almost site around Tathore in Pune. This is an unique opportunity for us to design a landscape within a forest bed. So usually for a landscape architect, we will plan our trees and softscape around amenity spaces. But when it comes to Rohan Harita, we have an existing forest bed and we want to work the other way around by creating niches and alcoves within this forest bed to embed our amenity spaces. So it's a very unique opportunity for us to get this kind of experience while designing the landscape. Our vision for this project is to conserve about 1,000 plus existing trees within this forest canvas. And keeping that overarching principle in mind, we want to introduce this concept, this Japanese concept of Shinrin Yoku. What does this mean? It means forest bathing. It means to engage your senses and truly experience nature within the forest canvas. So at Rohan Harita, since we already have this beautiful expanse of trees, we want to really create these alcoves and niche spaces within the forest canvas. Here we are planning a myriad of activities which are both rejuvenating and meditative in nature, as well as engaging and active within the development. And we want to create this unique experience of homecoming, arriving from a bustling urban atmosphere into Rohan Harita. What do we want to achieve? First and foremost, we want to conserve our biodiversity. We want to create an engaging and activated campus. We want to encourage healthy living lifestyle. We want to create an inclusive campus where it's safe. Every resident feels safe and a niche for themselves of all ages. We want to create a sustainable environment, right from conserving our trees to urban farming to letting the kids educate through the campus. So all these learning experiences is something which forms our main goals and principles for the design, for the landscape design at Harita. So before we start designing this project, we looked at what are the key assets of our site, what is the USP of the site. Like I mentioned, we have a beautiful connection, green boulevard connection from the outdoor, and we have two large courtyards with existing trees. So we are trying to see how we can conserve these trees in the place that they are in, and at the same time create certain niches and link them between each other. By doing that, we are also trying to see that we can connect these two courtyards through the plinth. We are lifting up the plinth of the central architectural building to create a still space. Therefore, we have a seamless connection, a seamless flowing of the green between the right and the left courtyards. Next, we want to create certain alcove spaces within certain alcove zones, amenity zones within the tree spaces, so that we do not cleverly and sensitively do not destroy any of the trees, but really creating these spaces within the niche areas. And then we try to have secondary connections which are more of eco links, which connects these amenity pods from one to the other. We have a more activated left side of the site, which is our sports areas, to a more passive and forested zone to the left. So naturally, these areas being more forested areas, we are trying to keep it as sacred as possible and introducing small and not so exhaustive amenities and more rejuvenating spaces and more learning spaces within the forest zones on the right. So we aim to look at this site as a mini conservatory space. We want to make sure that we reduce our ambient temperature while being in the city to coming into Rohan Harita. So it's a natural lowering of temperature, mitigating dust, reducing the noise levels. So there is a few aspects which is achieved or which is enhanced by creating these and by conserving the forest and by creating these niche amenities within the forest. We are creating edible gardens suitably spaced, placed, and we are trying to get the younger generation to learn and to engage with how do we learn through nature. So it's a very learning environment within Rohan Harita that we want to encourage. Similarly, we want, like I said previously, we want to encourage a very healthy living lifestyle here. So we have courtyards, we have outdoor gyms, we have basketball courts, bike trails, but they are all nicely immersed and nicely carved out within the forest bed. We do not want to really remove any of the trees or destroy any of the trees, but we want to really live within the nature, within the forest areas. The other aspect which we want to keep in mind while designing, which is very key to any landscape that we design, is how do we build communities within these within the outdoor spaces. How do we encourage people or the residents to engage themselves within the outdoor spaces? How do we get the kids to be away from their gadgets and to be outdoors? What we are trying to do here is create complementary activities or amenities which kind of which are being together. So for example, we have a toddler play area within the forest together with a lotus pad, which is a story pad for the elderly. So we have a grandparent with the kids who are engaging together, and that creates a community. Similarly, we have a sports enthusiast who's practicing at the basketball court with his kid playing on the bike trail. So we are trying to create these complementary small niches, which kind of engages and which also helps the elderly and the kids to engage, to create this small like-minded communities within the within this campus. So another key aspect of and which is a very unique aspect of this project is we are not limiting our landscape experience to the forest floor itself. So we have landscape interventions at various levels, right from the forest floor to the facade to the wrapping around the eco deck. So at every stage we are trying to as though bring up the forest and then integrate it with the architectural building to create a beautiful biophilic experience for the resident. What we are trying to see is at the forest floor we have amenities within, or we have spaces and activities within the forest alcoves, but when we next go into the canopy level, we have more canopy walks which are more educational, more nature gazing, bird watching. So it's a bit more passive and learning experience. And then we go another step up, which is at the eco deck level, from where you have a continuous more than a half a kilometer of running or jogging loop through the canopies, but the vision that you see of the landscape from the eco deck is a very different vision. You look down at the tree canopies, you have a beautiful, you can see the flowers, you can see the beautiful canopies of the trees changing through the seasons. So you have a very, very different view of the landscape, right from the eye level to the canopy level to the canopy top level. So it's a very unique feature which is an USP for this project. So now a bit on the planning and zoning as we have designed, as we have planned the landscape. Like I mentioned, we have this beautiful boulevard which is shaded with naturally existing trees on both sides. It is an uninterrupted vehicular link along the west of the side. But when it comes to the east, we have pedestrian links. So it is really not interfering with the vehicular flow. It's safe for the users. See, all the lift lobbies are engaging with the courtyards through direct connections into the courtyards through a pedestrian connector. So it's a very eco connector which engages directly from the houses into the landscape courts. So based on this understanding, we start to look at the various zones or the various key zones of the project, namely the Arrival Boulevard, this unique experience of homecoming through the Arrival Boulevard, flowing into the sports alcoves. The sports alcoves are actually situated at certain pockets, which is nicely placed. Mainly our priority is the density of the trees. So wherever we find larger openings, we are really designing a nature-based landscape at Harita. So we don't force or enforce amenities into the various locations. We go by how the nature is actually giving us a space to build it. The left courtyard being a bit more sparse, we are introducing our water bodies, which is the recreational alcove, the recreation cove. We have the lap pool there, the family pool, the kids pool, a little bit of engagement with all ages and various groups of people. We have a multifunction hall leading into the multifunction lawn. So there are many amenities surrounding this first alcove C here, which are indoor spaces, and we want these to naturally flow into the outdoor and engage with the outdoor amenities as a very indoor-outdoor integrated approach. Similarly, we look at the forest spaces on the left, which is more densely covered with trees, and we try to see what are our key activities within this forest spaces. We call this a social cove, where we have the amphitheater for functions, for celebrations, to celebrate festive gatherings. During Diwali or Christmas, they want to do their firecrackers, they want to light the diyas. We have a beautiful lotus pond with coconut trees and an amphitheater for kids to perform and to get engaged into that space. So we have this social cove which kind of is at this corner, and as well as at the other corner of the site, which becomes more of camping activity. So it's not really only a daytime zone that we are trying to create. We are trying to create a all season, all time round active outdoor campus. So the campings can happen during winters. We have a bonfire pit with a barbecue pavilions around it, so we can engage in families, bringing in friends and extended families over to the campus, which really allows the whole concept of community creation and engagement that we were talking about as a design goal to begin with. Flowing from the social coves, we have more densely planted trees within the center of the second courtyard, and we call this as the forest cove. What do we want to do here? We want to create a very rejuvenating and meditative point here. We have huge chandan trees and sal trees, and we want to create this beautiful sensory garden and immersive meditative contemplative kind of zone below the chandan trees. We also have a canopy walk where we want to engage into getting onto the canopy level, as we spoke about a while ago. So it kind of enables a learning journey for the kids. It's on a ramp, so even for elders to have a nice quiet walk in the evening through the forest canopies, listening to the birds chirping and then coming down gradually from the other side. At the recreation cove, we also have this unique pavilion which is surrounded by trees on all sides. So usually pavilions are supposed to be floating, but this pavilion has beautiful tall trees on all sides, and it is nestled within the tree canopies. And what happens at the pavilion? We have art and craft and performances and tea pavilions within this forest pavilion. So it's a quiet space. You're sitting under the canopy, you're sipping onto tea, or you're enjoying your kids painting. So it's a very immersive kind of atmosphere. It's next to the pool, so you're looking into the pool alcove as well. Lots of flowering trees in this zone, which kind of adds value to the kids' vibrant kind of experience around the art pavilion. Also another engaging feature which is in most of our campuses, which is the play points for the younger generations. But here we want to give them a taste of playing in a very natural environment with natural elements. We don't want to introduce very commercial play, but more of landform play. So we have mounds, we have tunnels, we have hanging gardens, we have so those kind of various different landform driven or nature driven play is what we are trying to look at. Also we have age appropriate play at different points, which is the toddler play, which is more monitored because we have a creche here, we have senior citizen corners, so it's more closer to those amenities. We have the kids play, which is 6 to 12-year-olds, which is a bit further away because they are more independent. We have then the forest play, which is nature play or within the forest beds. So there are little pockets of play alcoves within the landscape areas. So alongside the recreation cove, we have this challenge of really integrating the two courtyards. So we are trying to create the garden lounge, which is actually the stilt level, and we are trying to create this strong connection of green spaces, of the green elements, both visually and physically connecting between these two courtyards to create, and this becomes our lounging area. So at the garden lounge, we want to create not only the green connection between the two courtyards, but we also want to create this various key spaces which can be used in fair weather. So whether it's sun or rain, this space will be very actively used by various communities on various ages. For example, we have the community outdoor community room or outdoor function room, which engages with the lawn. We have the games room, which engages with the putting green and flows into the open spaces alongside it. And we have the outdoor lobby lounge, which is a beautiful place to lounge and sit and read a book. It's a bit of a gathering space as well as a me point or a me space. For co-working, we have a co-working pod, which you can engage with a group or you can be on your own in your own corner. We have a bit of senior citizens corner here. So this is kind of a very beautiful hub, which is enjoying the water on one side, which is enjoying the forest on the other side, and it's a very lively, engaging kind of key heart of this development. So at Rohan Harita, we really want to create this all immersive and rejuvenating experience of living in the forest with your home surrounded by trees, to really cherish every moment of homecoming after a long days of work. Thank you.